Yo, what up? Opening line, part of the Elite Fantasy Sports Network. Corey Parson, the fantasy exec, my main man, Benny Ricciardi out there in New Jersey. Got a lot on deck for y'all today, a lot of stuff to talk about. Big night in sports last night. Big night coming up also. Once again, we want to say to everybody that logs on, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, Guru Elite YouTube page. So this way, when the videos are posted, you can hop right in there and check it out. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Thanks for rocking with us. Man, Benny, a lot of stuff going on last night. A number of different places that we could start. But I want to start with some baseball. And I hate to say to kind of get this out the way, but yesterday we speculated about the reaction that Bryce Harper would get in his return to D.C., and they booed the F out of him.
I mean, he jumped ship and he left on them, but you know what? I mean, it is what it is. You know what? I really wouldn't care less if I was him that I was getting booed because he's got 200. What they pay him? 250 million, 300 million, something like that.
I think he got three. Did he get 330 or 300?
He got more than Machado. Yeah, so he got over $300 million. You know what? For $300 million, you can boo me all you want. I don't care.
Yep. No, listen. The Nationals made him an offer in the 10-year, $300 million range. He wanted more. Somebody else met it. He went to go play for them. And the thing about it is, you know, the fans, they come out and boo. But like you said, that joint last night, you know how on a Saturday afternoon in the summertime, Yankee fans will take over Camden Yards? Mm-hmm. Phillies fans took over Nats Park on a Tuesday night.
But that's, again, I mean, we talked about this yesterday too, is that's the problem with the Nationals is, you know, the stadium tends to have more of the opposing fans than it does the Washington National fans altogether. So, you know, he did what he wanted to do. I'm never going to knock an athlete for leaving to go get paid because at the end of the day, man, like, why do we go to work? We go to work to get paid so that you can support your family and you can buy the things you need and, you know, you can live your life. So the guy got $300 and something million. Good for him. You know, you don't like it. Well, hell, your organization could have paid him more and maybe he would have stayed.
Yes, the Learners have good money. You know what I'm saying? They could have made it happen. They own a team inside the Beltway. That's prime real estate right there. So, the fans come out, they boo. Then he hits the mammoth home run. You know what I'm saying? To quiet the crowd. The Phillies fans in that joint going crazy. Now the bat flip. Everybody's like, oh, that was an epic bat flip. That was an okay bat flip. It was okay. It was a good bat flip. It was not Jose Bautista's playoff bat flip. Yeah. Now that was a bat flip.
Now, I personally have no problem with the back flip. You know, I mean, you have all these pitchers that are like, oh, let him do that to me. It's like, no, you know what? If you cared as much about striking him out and not letting him hit a home run as you do about getting back at him after he does, you know, then you wouldn't have to be in that situation. I have no problem with the bat flip. You hit a home run, it's a big deal. You score a touchdown, you should have some kind of end zone dance. I'm all about the celebration. This is sports, man. It's supposed to be fun. Go ahead and do your thing.
Listen, baseball needs stuff like this. They had the big promotion last year. Let the kids play the bat flips, Yasiel Puig and stuff like that. Baseball knows that it has a problem, you know, reaching the youth. Baseball has a television problem also. And so they're trying to work on those things until you get a game on ESPN Plus just about every night now. Last year they had put games on Facebook. They're trying to reach a different audience. It's just the game is so slow and boring, and there's so many other entertainment options out there. You really got to be a true baseball head to get into it. You know, most kids can't even watch an inning of a baseball game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem that I see in my house, too. I mean, my son loves baseball. You know, I mean, he's been playing, you know, his entire life. He plays on the travel team. He plays on his rec team in town, all that stuff. I can't get him to sit down and watch anything other than an Aaron Judge at bat, who's his favorite player.
Yep.
Judge is on, he'll stop whatever he's doing and watch Judge's at bat with me. And then as soon as it's over, he'll go walk away before he sees how the inning even ends. And it is an issue because, I mean, you know, a lot of the baseball fans out there are the older generation, guys that are passing away right now and, you know, guys that are getting to the point where they'd rather just watch the game on television. So they got to do something. Otherwise, they're going to have a problem. And I think this is in all professional sports. Isn't all professional sports basically having a problem with the live attendance thing? Because with everybody having these big screen TVs and stuff, I mean, I know I would rather sit on my couch and watch the games from home.
Well, see, what baseball's thing is, baseball doesn't have an attendance problem. The attendance is great because it's warm outside. It's a social event. You can go out there. They have singles nights at baseball stadiums and stuff like that. You can go out there and socialize. You're not required to sit in the seat for 9 innings. You can go out there, have a couple drinks, split $40, $50 a night. You know what I'm saying? Go back, have a good time. Go back to your crib, go to sleep. The weather's nice and stuff like that. Whereas, football is clearly made for television, where the NBA is very expensive to go to a basketball game. So attendance baseball doesn't have a problem. Benny, listen, I think bat flips are good. I think, that the personal showmanship can help make the game better. I really think baseball needs to market their game by innings, to be honest with you. Like, they need to sign some kind of deal where you can have, like, you're on Twitter. Bryce Harper's coming up to bat. Bing, hit the button, go right to the at-bat. I think that's where baseball needs to go, because taking in a full 9-hour baseball game outside of these northeastern cities in October, it doesn't really happen no more.
Well, I mean, isn't that basically what the MLB at Bat app is? I mean, the MLB at Bat app I've had it for a while and I use it all the time. I actually usually have I'm sitting here usually watching TV with the iPad next to me that has the MLB at Bat app on. And especially when you're playing DFS, if you got a guy on this team, a guy on that team, you're flipping back and forth, seeing how those guys are doing. If you have a pitcher that's on the mound, you go over, you can click on that game, you can watch how he's doing for a little bit. So that really is the experience that I think today's fan wants to have, is where, especially in a sport like baseball, like you mentioned, it's so slow that if you can bounce from one game to the other like that, you're always getting action. So it's really almost like NFL Red Zone, right? Like you're basically sitting there trying to get the action of the game and cutting out all the pitching changes and all the stuff that goes on in between innings. If you can get it so it's a continuous action thing, I think you're going to have people more interested.
My thing was, and people say that, people always like, oh, Corey's crazy, you're way out there, they'll never do that. My thing was personal, expression by the players, and put cheerleaders on top of the dugout.
They do it in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And you know where else they do it all over that it's big? Is down in all the Latin leagues.
Oh, my God. They be up there on a bang, bang, bang. And you be like, this is cool. The Latin America, like if they was to move the Marlins to Puerto Rico, they would show you how to do a baseball game.
And you know what else, too? I think people would it might even help their attendance, because the Marlins attendance sucks.
Yeah.
You go to Puerto Rico, A, everybody in Puerto Rico loves baseball, so you're going to get a lot of people going there. And then B, it's like an event thing, like, oh, hey, we can go to Puerto Rico and catch the Yankees against, we're going to go when the Yankees play the Marlins, we'll go catch the Yankees game in Puerto Rico, so it might even help tourism out. So we could actually save Puerto Rico with this idea.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody else is trying to, Benny. Listen, like I said, I haven't been haven't gotten into too much baseball yet. I've been playing, I've been betting though, but I've been betting the plays that Rob and the guys have right there in the Guru Elite sports betting package. So trust me, those plays are hitting. I made some money off them joints last night. So you need to go on and get down with it. That's Guru Elite. And you go to the betting page, and Rob and Dream and those dudes are doing a great job. Draft Cheat, those cats, my man Frank, they getting it done over that joint. So go sign up and trust me. I'm telling you, I don't even I'm not even watching these baseball games. I'm still wrapping the basketball. I woke up this morning, I checked my account, I was in the green. So shout out to them for a good job getting that done. But like I said, I haven't been watching much baseball, Benny. So I just kind of see the things that's going on Twitter. But I figure I'd bring it up and ask you about it, because the cats probably want to hear from you what's going on. What's up with Chris Sale's velocity? Is that a thing?
I mean, it's definitely a problem. And, yes, it's definitely a thing. So here's basically why it's a thing, which I think is what people really need to understand. He went from throwing last year, his fastball was in the high 90s, right? And if you're throwing your fastball in the high 90s, you're getting your off-speed pitch, maybe 10 miles per hour difference from it. It's tough as a hitter when the pitches are coming from the same arm angle and coming in looking the same, when you have one that's coming in 10 miles per hour faster than the other one. The problem with Chris Sale this year is he's topping out. I think he topped out in his start yesterday at 92. And for the most part, his four-seamer was consistently like 89, 90 miles an hour. Now, 89, 90 miles an hour, there's a lot of people that throw that fast. That's basically what the speed is kind of set on for a lot of these guys when they're taking batting practice. Any Major League Baseball player is going to be able to crush an 89, 90 mile an hour fastball. A 96, 97 mile an hour fastball is a different story. And then when you have a 96, 97 and your off-speed pitch is 88, 80, 87 in that range, that big difference there makes it harder to hit. When you're topping out at 89, 90 and your off-speed pitch now is 84, 85, it's not a big enough difference between the two that you're going to have guys swinging over it or being way out in front of it and hitting ground balls and stuff like that. So basically what happened is the other team, after watching his first start, noticed that he wasn't getting over 91 or 92. So their game plan yesterday was to sit on his fastball because anybody can drive a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. So that's basically what they did. So what Chris Sale had to do to kind of counter it is he went to like basically throwing all his off-speed stuff yesterday and not really throwing that many fastballs because he knew that they were sitting on his fastball, and he knew that a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, which is what he's throwing right now, is easily hittable for a hitter. So yesterday you saw a very un-Chris Sale-like start where he still went 6 innings, was pretty good. I think he only gave up a run even though he got the loss.
Yeah, they lost 1-0.
But
that bad.
But for fantasy, and this is where it becomes a big deal, he only had 1 strikeout. Now, Chris Sale is a guy who was going second, third round of a lot of drafts.
You need 2 indications.
You need at least, if he's going to go 6 innings, you need at least 6, 7, 8 Ks for him to justify where you're drafting him, or in DFS to justify paying the price that you're paying for him. So if you're going to get Chris Sale pitching basically a Greg Maddux kind of pitcher trying to hit his spots and keep guys off balance and relying on his defense, he's not going to be worth the salary that he is this year. Can he change that, the miles per hour on his pitches? I mean, they don't seem to think it's a big deal.
How often is that done in season where your miles per hour can go up?
I mean, basically, it's not something that normally happens in season, to be honest with you. But I will say this, like we have seen other instances of guys at the beginning of the year who weren't throwing, as fast as they normally do, that were able to build it up during the season. A lot of times, though, that has more to do with the fact that a guy missed like part of spring training or something. So really, like, these first couple starts are kind of like his spring training. I don't know if he's going to be able to get back up there or not, but I would be very worried about it if I was a Chris Sale.
No doubt about that. So if you want to find out more on Chris Sale and what's going on in the world of fantasy baseball, fantasyguru.com, Jeff Mans, Ray Flowers, and the homie Vlad, they got you covered. But let's get ready to talk a little bit of hoops. We got a lot of hoops we need to get to today. I was going to text you yesterday, but I was like, Benny know what he's doing, so let me not have to text Benny. And I was going to tell you, you probably wrote it up anyway, to play Russell Westbrook yesterday.
Oh, yeah. He was in the Cash Game article.
Yeah, because I figured Russell Westbrook was going to go off because of the homie Nipsey, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he went and did exactly that. You know what I'm saying? 20 points, 20 assists, 20 rebounds, something like that.
Yep.
He went out there. Him being a South Los Angeles guy, he goes out there, gives a shout out to his boy Nipsey. You know what I'm saying? Benny, he wanted basically Nipsey Hussle being from the rolling 60s. He said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to roll 60. And he went and did it.
Yeah.
Against another professional basketball team, Benny. That's crazy.
So just to tell everybody how hard and how unlikely what he did yesterday really is, it's only the second time in NBA history somebody had a 20-20-20 triple-double. I don't even know what to call it. I was trying to think about what to call it. Yeah. I mean, normally, it's a 20-20-20 triple-double. The only other player in NBA history who's ever done it was Will Chamberlain. So
crazy.
That's how historic that game was. And, we haven't really talked about Westbrook as an MVP candidate this year because he had a little bit of a slow start coming off that injury and stuff. But the run of triple-doubles that he had, I think it was 11 games in a row or something like that, was an NBA record. This is only the second time in NBA history somebody's gone 20-20-20. Russell Westbrook is doing some things this year on the basketball court that have never been done before.
And I'll be honest, I have been the biggest proponent. I have been a dude that I have talked negatively about Russell Westbrook for years. I said that Westbrook was a stat pattern. His teams don't win. Listen, the team is still 8th place in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
A team with Paul George on it. That year when they got Anthony and George, they got worse. And it's not like they're not getting any better. And I blame a lot of that on Russell Westbrook. The stats are impressive. I get it. But now when you think about it, this dude is 14 assists away from averaging a triple-double 3 years in a row. And after what he did last night, I got to be 100% honest, Benny. I'm like, son is legit. He's a baller. And you know what? Russell Westbrook is underappreciated. He's underappreciated.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love Russell Westbrook. So, I'm not one of those people on that list. The guy is a hell of a basketball player. it takes more than one guy to win at basketball, which I think a lot of people found out this year when everybody was like, oh, well, the Lakers are easily going to make the playoffs. I mean, they got LeBron, and they're going to be great, and they're going to win the championship. You need more than one player to win in the NBA. Like, I don't care how good that one player is. You need more than one player. My biggest problem is that OKC has completely mismanaged what could have been one of the greatest dynasties ever. You think about it, this team had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden at one point in time. And we're not even going to go any deeper than that, but I mean Serge Ibaka, Dennis Schroeder. Like, there's guys all over the NBA right now that trace their roots back to that OKC team that made a run when those guys were younger. And then you look at it now, and not only do they not have Ibaka anymore or Durant anymore or James Harden anymore, but what did they really get for any of those guys?
Nothing. You're right.
That's the thing, is like they kind of gave them up for nothing. It's not like they gave them up for other good pieces that fit a little better or made more sense or financially made them better off. They really don't have much to show for it. And now they're just left with Westbrook and Paul George, who are two good players. But in all honesty, outside of Westbrook and Paul George, who else on that team?
And the thing about it is, Penny, it's a small market. So you know what they need. So you know what they essentially, they're already paying Russ. They're paying PG. They need to get lucky in the draft. They need to draft a dude that becomes a star and says, you know what, I like it out here. I'm going to stay. That's how they get that next piece, because I don't see that piece coming to them in free agency.
And the thing is, if you're going to keep ending up as an 8 seed, you're not getting a top 10, 12 pick in the draft. So you don't get a chance to go get one of those like franchise-changing kind of players that way. They really are in a pretty crappy spot, because you know who your nucleus is. You're building around Paul George and Russell Westbrook. The problem is now you got to get people to want to go to OKC and do it at a discounted price, and that's not an easy thing to pull off.
No, it's not. So, but shout out to him, Russell Westbrook. Shout out to him for that tribute. Now, I knew this was going to happen last night when he did that, and he mentioned it in the post-game interview, because I know how the mainstream media rolls. So this morning, I wake up to it. As soon as I get on Twitter, the first thing I see, I don't know if the NBA is going to be happy about Russell Westbrook mentioning a gang affiliation. And I'm like, here we go.
Was this a Skip Bayless tweet? Like, who are you looking?
The thing about it is wild is crazy. It's a dude that I know. It was my man Evan Cohen from the morning show on Sirius XM. It's a dude that I rode the elevator 5:45 with in the AM many times. Well, sometime I was a 6:15 guy, but you get where I'm going.
I was gonna say, you guys both came in late. All right, fair enough.
We was there. You know what I'm saying? So he tweeted twice about the situation, and I was just like, okay. I don't like arguing with cats on Twitter, especially cats that I know in real life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I'm like, okay, like Rolling 60s is a neighborhood in South Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. Russell Westbrook is from South Los Angeles, and that was his homeboy. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear Rolling 60s, you may affiliate it with gangs, but that's like a neighborhood. Like people in Los Angeles, they live in the 40s, the 50s. Son lived in the 60s, whatever. So I was like, man, that's kind of irresponsible journalism to equate that to gang activity. It's kind of like me. If I go on a job interview, somebody asks me where I'm from, it depends on who I'm talking to. I'm like, I'm from Upper Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking with you and the homies. I'm from Harlem.
Right.
If I'm talking to somebody from Harlem, I'll be like, I'm from up the hill. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm from up the hill don't mean I sell dope. You know what I'm saying? Or I advocate the selling of drugs.
Yeah.
I advocate the purchasing of drugs. With that being said, I was like, I saw a couple other places on Twitter, and I know we'll see Skip, and I know we'll see Shannon, and this hot take and that hot take about him relating this to gangs. But Benny, this is not about gangs. This is just about neighborhoods. So Evan was like, well, everybody doesn't know that. How is the mainstream supposed to figure that out? My thing is, first of all, that's your job.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
And number two, why does Russell Westbrook have to dumb it down for you? You feel what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on both parts of that, because how is the mainstream going to know that? Like, that's your job, like you have a platform. You have a Twitter platform and you have a radio show platform. Your job is to make sure that you're not pushing some BS narrative that this was some kind of, gang affiliation thing and all that stuff. That's your job. Like you literally asked, how are they going to know that? Like you're the way they're going to know that. What was the other part of it that you said about Westbrook?
They they more or less they said it was gang affiliated, rolling 60s, whatever. But that's a neighborhood.
I don't know. I mean, listen, there's a lot of people out here that are going to push some kind of agenda, and they're going to use anything they can that they can fit into that box to.
And that's what I think it is.
Yeah, to push whatever narrative they're trying to push out there. This was a guy from his hometown, somebody who he knew personally that, they partied together before and hung out together before. I have no problem with what Russell Westbrook did last night. And honestly, he put up an all-time NBA great performance. So you should be happy you got a chance to see that.
And was talented enough to do it on purpose.
Yeah.
He did that on purpose. He purposely did that. Because when he got that 20th rebound, the whole bench got up. So they knew what he was trying to do. I was telling them, we got a tweet in the, the DMs. And I'm like, it's like Kevin Durant. He's from, if you ask KD, he'll tell you I'm from Prince George County. Well, we know that as a DC suburb. Mm-hmm. So I'm from PG County and be like, where you from? He'd be like, I'm from Capitol Heights. I'm from Seat Pleasant. That's how neighborhoods break down. It doesn't mean that it's not gang related. It's not set tripping. You know what I mean? Now, there has been plenty of gang activity in the NBA, but that was back in the day. Paul Pierce, known gangster, you know what I'm saying, was actually stabbed up for being a gangster. So, like I said, I've always given Russ a hard time, but shout out to him. And listen, something's about to average a triple-double 3 years in a row. We didn't think that was ever going to be done. Nonetheless, have somebody do it 3 years in a row. So shout out to him for that. He gets a big piece of chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he earned it today, yeah.
I think he earned a couple of big pieces of chicken. Nightcap last night, Benny, people have just been saying a couple of years now, they've been saying the only thing that can stop the Golden State Warriors are the Golden State Warriors because of how they act with the referees. Kevin Durant last night picks up technical foul 14 and 15, I believe it is. Gets thrown, double tech, thrown out the game. And this morning, once again, another narrative going around is the Golden State Warriors and their struggles with the referee. Last year, when they was really going through referees, the GM, who's rarely around, unless there's something major going on, more or less came and addressed the team. It was like, yo, listen, this is bullshit. We have to cut this out. It starts with Steve Kerr, and it goes all the way down to the end of the bench. Stop getting into it, these back and forth with the referees. Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot from this team. The situation last week at the end of the T-Wolves game, whole bunch of fines went out. And yesterday, Kevin Durant calls the referee a bitch-ass MFer. And here we go again with the Golden State Warriors and the referees. Did you see any of that exchange last night?
I didn't see the exchange, but I know what you're talking about, and I have a very strong take on this. The one guy who should be talking to the referee on your team is the head coach.
Uh-huh.
The one guy who should be talking about referees in a post-game conference, if somebody's going to mention anything, is the head coach. The head coach gets paid $500,000, $1 million, whatever he gets paid a year, so that he has money there to be fined when he needs to. And I go back to Phil Jackson with this because Phil Jackson was the best at it. Phil Jackson told all those guys on his team, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, you shut up, you play the game. My job is to talk to the referees. I'll be the ones that are getting on them. I'll be the ones there because referees are people, man. And if you're a jerk to them, as they found out the other day in that Minnesota game, they're going to get you back. And that's what they'll do to a player out there, and you can't even be upset about it. As a player, your job is to play. The coach's job is literally to be the one in the referee's ear. The coach's job in the post-game press conference is to be the one planting those seeds in the media and taking the $25,000 fine. So the next game, his guys don't get called for that tic-tac foul, and they get that tic-tac foul on the other end of the floor. That's your job as a head coach. Phil Jackson was the best at it. He was the best at playing mind games, not only with his team, but with the referees, with the opponents. That's what you're supposed to do. So Steve Kerr, he can talk to the referees all he wants. The rest of these guys, though, just shut up and play. Shut up and play. One play has never changed the game.
Now, what's interesting? Now, here's a couple of things, interesting things, and I'm glad I brought this up with you, and I figured you would have an opinion, a good opinion on this. The dude last week that they had the problem with, he's ref 4 Warrior games this year. The Warriors have lost all 4 of those games.
Okay.
That's number one. So they feel some kind of way about that. But you're right. That's Steve Kerr's job.
Mm-hmm.
Last night when things started getting heated, you can see Steve Kerr get off the bench, almost to say to Durant, I got this. And before Steve Kerr could start talking, the ref teed him up. Now, here's my problem. After the ref teed him up, Benny, the ref didn't walk away. The ref teed him up and looked at him to see, you want some more? And Durant gave him some more. Ref teed him up again and threw him out the game. The ref, in my opinion, the ref was looking to give him that second tech.
So he was basically baiting him into it.
Yeah, he baited him into that second tech.
And I have a problem with that too. I mean, I have my referee's license. I'm an IABO official in the state of New Jersey. I've teed people up before. When you tee somebody up, you either walk away, or if you're going to stand there, you stand there and let them say their piece. You already gave them their technical. You stand there, you let them get out whatever they wanted to get out. And you say, okay, coach, from now on, I'll watch it. But you still got a technical. You got to sit down for the rest of the game and stay there. And, let's go on and let's play. Let's get over this, all right? If you're standing there trying to bait somebody, that's a problem. And if I'm the league, see, the one thing that's good about the NBA, all the officials in the NBA, they're all reviewed on basically a weekly basis. So they will sit down in C caucus where the main branch is, and they will literally watch the game that you refereed. And a lot of times, like in college, I know you actually are in that room with them.
Yeah.
Going over you missed this rotation, you missed this foul, you called this a foul, but was it really a foul? Was it not? And the idea is not like to get you as a referee. The idea is to make you better as an official, like to show you, here's what you did wrong, here's what you did right, here's what you should be doing next time.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be one of those situations where they have a long conversation about, what were you doing still standing there, staring him down after that confrontation?
Yeah.
You teed him up, that's fine. You can tee the guy up. You go over to the desk, you report the technical foul, you go to the other end, you shoot the free throws. It's the end of it, or it should be.
No doubt. So that was the case last night. It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out moving forward. The 1 year the Warriors, out the last 4 years, the Warriors did not win the championship. The year Draymond Green got suspended. Mm-hmm. And, listen, you're going to have it's a chance you can have Oklahoma City in the first round. You know what I'm saying? It's a chance you can have Houston in the second round. I'm done with the Nuggets, Benny. I'm done with the Nuggets.
I hear you.
Just take that down. Remember that from here on out. I am done with the Denver Nuggets, period. Now, with that being said, you got so much stuff coming at you right now that you don't need worry about the teams in front of you. Stop worrying about the referees. And I think the GM, who rarely addresses the team, is going to have to come down again and be like, yo, get the shit together because we try to win a championship. It's too much back and forth with the referees on this team.
Well, like you said, I mean, I think everybody looks at the Warriors right now as the favorite to win the championship again. So the team that is the biggest, threat to the Warriors is themselves. Doing something stupid is about the only thing that could screw it up for this team. And you saw that last night. I mean, even after Durant got tossed, they still won that game by 15 points?
Yeah.
They had 28 and 13. I mean, they just have so
he had 21 points in 21 minutes.
Yeah.
He was on fire last night.
So many weapons. There's just, that's a team that can handle a major injury and still wind up winning a championship. Don't make things harder on yourself. Just go out there, keep your mouth shut for the next 2 months, and prove to everybody you're as good as you think you are.
Going to be interesting to see how that goes out because that is a very high-strung, emotional team. Yesterday, Ernie Grunfeld was fired by the Wizards. And I wanted to see – I was like, you know what? I wanted to make my man Benny the GM of the Washington Wizards. Congratulations, Benny. You've been promoted. You got a new job. You've been Ted Leonis has contacted you. You interviewed for the job. You passed the interview. You are now the general manager of the Washington Wizards. You have Bradley Beal, who yesterday said he was the second best two guard in the NBA. He is an all-NBA player just about every year, NBA All-Star. You also have John Wall making a ton of money, and you don't know when you're going to see him again. How do you fix the Washington Wizards and the Eastern Conference where they should be competing?
I think one of the problems that the Wizards have, so, I mean, it's not even just John Wall. You also have Dwight Howard out there, too. What's going to happen with Dwight Howard? What's going to happen with John Wall? The guys you're spending money on right now are question marks. And that's never a good thing for any organization in any sport, John Wall will probably come back. He'll probably be fine. But I got to be honest, what has John Wall ever won in the NBA?
No.
His you need, in order for John Wall is a lot like Rajon Rondo, in my opinion, where if you put him on a team where you have shooters at every single position, that's where he's going to have his most success, because then he could drive to the basket and make decisions about who he's kicking it out to, because we know John Wall is not a very good shooter from the outside. You can't have multiple liabilities that can hit an outside shot in today's NBA. So if you're going to have your point guard be somebody who can't shoot, you need to make sure that you have, stretch forwards that are going to be hitting shots and a shooting guard like Bradley Beal that's going to hit shots as well. That's the only way a guy like John Wall is going to be successful in today's NBA. The other thing is, like I said, your other guy that you're spending money on is Dwight Howard. And we have no idea what's going to happen with him. We don't know if he's going to wind up playing.
Got him in that joint.
Yeah, to be honest, I never liked that move to begin with. But it does underline something that's a problem for them. They don't have an inside presence on that team. They basically are trying to do it this year with guys like Thomas Bryant and like Bobby Portis, and they're really more like power forward players. So that's going to be a problem there. You got to figure out what you're going to do. John Wall, for as good a player he is, doesn't have a lot of trade value in the NBA.
His contract is too heavy.
Yeah, the contract's heavy. And again, the way that he plays the game is not what people are looking for in today's NBA. So fixing the Wizards is going to be a longer process than people realize, because you're going to have to wait for that money to get off the books. You're going to have to try to trade him. If you do, you're not going to get back what you want. You're probably going to wind up taking expiring contracts, maybe a draft pick or two. So, if you're asking me to fix the Wizards by next season, I'm not taking the job, because that can't be done. If you're going to give me 4 or 5 years to get my vision in there, to trust the process, then we might be able to do something. But the process really may be, kind of blowing things up for a year or two and reloading, so that you get Bradley Beal in his prime, along with some decent pieces around him that can actually win.
Really not interested in the Wizards job, but he will be writing DFS tonight for EliteFantasy.com, so you can get his basketball plays throughout the NBA playoffs. Get down with that over at EliteFantasy.com. I want to touch on some things right quick. I want to mention it. A report coming out this morning that Buzz Williams is leaving Virginia Tech for Texas A&M. Anytime a bottom-feeding SEC basketball school can steal a top-of-the-heap ACC basketball coach, that goes to show you the power of college football and the Southeastern Conference. This is a coach that's coaching against North Carolina, Virginia, and Duke in the ACC every year. And a bottom-feeding SEC team, basketball team, can come and scoop him up. Benny, it must be serious money in SEC football.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here, right? Because Buzz Williams also does have a connection to Texas A&M. He was an assistant coach there at one point earlier in his career.
Okay.
So, you got that going for you there. The other thing, too, is he's 165 or something like that in ACC play. So about a 60% win percentage. And you mentioned it. Every year he has to play North Carolina. He has to play Duke. Virginia these last couple of years has been very good as well. So, that's another team that is, I'm not going to say an automatic loss, because I think they did knock off Duke this year, and they have beat those other temes in the past couple of years. But
yeah, Tech beat Duke this year, and Tech beat Carolina this year.
Yeah, so for the most part, though, that, at best you're hoping to go 500 in those matchups.
Roy Williams, Roy Williams coached there. You know what I'm saying? Bennett coached there. Coach K coached there. Jim Boeheim coached there. So I get it.
Yeah, it's not an easy place. So now you're going to a conference that could be easier for you to win. You have some of those connections now on the East Coast to recruit from there as well. Plus, you still have those connections down there at Texas A&M. Again, is he making money? Yeah, he probably did get a pretty sweet deal to go down there. But he does have some connections to that school. And getting away from the ACC actually is probably a good thing for a coach, because you don't have to go up against a powerhouse every night,
Exactly. You have Kentucky, is obviously the blue blood. Tennessee, but Bruce Pearl is in Auburn, so until he gets put on sanctions, that's going to be a good program, you know what I'm saying?
So next year, really, yeah.
So the program is on the rise. Speaking of those programs right quick, I wanted to tell so college basketball championship. I'm going out to the FanDuel Sportsbook today. I don't know if I'm going this afternoon or tonight. I'm going to lay something down to win the championship. Virginia is plus 125. Mm-hmm. Michigan State is plus 190. Texas Tech is plus 460. Auburn is plus 800, right?
Wow.
But here's the difference. Cassius Winston, I think Michigan State's going to win. Cassius Winston is plus 270 to win the MOP. If Michigan State wins the championship, he's going to win the MOP.
Yeah.
This is the bet right here. Same thing goes with Virginia. Ty Jerome is plus 410 to win the MOP. If Virginia wins the MOP, either him or DeAndre Hunter will be that guy. Hunter is plus 600. Same thing goes with Texas Tech with Jalvin Culver. He's plus 700. And in Auburn, you got Jared Harper down there at plus 1,800. Bryce Brown at plus 1,500 to win the MOP. My thing is, I would rather put the future bet on the MOP rather than the team because you're getting better odds on the MOP.
What were the two Virginia guys?
The two Virginia guys were, look at this right quick. Ty Jerome is plus 410.
410.
Kyle Guy is plus 550. And DeAndre Hunter is plus 600.
All right, and then what were they to win it? Plus 120 something?
Plus 125 to win it.
So, I mean, if you picked out two of those three, your worst odds would be plus 210. So if you put like $100 on each as opposed to $200 on Virginia to win, yeah, you're still better off betting on the MOPs. The money is better there. Now, again, there is the risk though that some guy puts up a 45-point game in the finals and walks off with the trophy, and you pick the right team and have no money. But I do think that that's worth the extra payouts that you're getting there. Auburn is plus 800 to win. Well, yeah, without Okeke, yeah, that makes sense actually.
It's
all
tough.
Right. I can live with that.
They've gone through a gauntlet already, but they have. But Virginia's going to be tough. But listen, Carolina was tough and Kentucky was tough, and they keep getting it done. So shout out to them. Another thing that's going to be coming up after college basketball ends, and before we get to the NBA draft, it's going to be Zion Williamson's shoe contract. This young man, Benny, is getting ready to break the MFN bank like you ain't never heard of before.
We talked about it the other day. I told you he's going to get a big deal because he's a household. Right now, if you ask the average person, not the average basketball fan, just the random walking down the street in New York City, stop somebody and ask them that question, who's the best player in college basketball, or name a player in college basketball, Zion Williamson is the name that everybody knows. Like I said, your girlfriend knows who he is, even if she doesn't watch basketball. Your mom knows who he is, even if she doesn't watch basketball. If somebody's going to get a sneaker deal that's going to be a ton of money, it's going to be him because he already has the name brand recognition that these companies are looking for, and he's about to be the number one pick in the NBA draft.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. Everybody's going to throw a boatload of money at this kid.
Right?
Now, do you know the last player to enter into the NBA with their own signature shoe as a rookie?
Was it LeBron?
Well, it was Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, all right, whatever. Okay.
Before Lonzo.
Did he really do that, though? Because he lost $2 million from the guy stealing from him. So, really, he paid $2 million to have his own, but whatever. I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah, listen, he's on the list. Before Lonzo Ball, the other player to come into the league with his own shoe deal was LeBron James.
Okay.
Before LeBron James, it was Stephon Marbury. Before Stephon Marbury, it was Allen Iverson. Notice, only one of these athletes' signature shoe in their rookie year was a Nike shoe.
Yeah, LeBron.
The only people to have a signature Nike shoe in their rookie seasons, LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Nike is the culturally significant brand. That's who. Listen, when you're growing up and you want to sign your shoe contract and you want to have a Nike because you want your homeboys wearing it. You want it on the store. Steph. Listen, 17 NBA players have their own signature shoes. Steph Curry's signature shoe is with Under Armour. Who wears Steph Curry's signature shoe? You know what I'm saying? You got a couple kids out there that's fans, whatever. Bottom line, Allen Iverson was Reebok. He had the dope commercial with Jadakiss. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But still, and some of the Reeboks was hot, the answers, whatever. But it wasn't what Nike is. Nike's going to throw a boatload of money at Zion, but so is Under Armour, so is Puma, so is Adidas. I think Zion is going to be a Nike guy, but he can really crack their head open if he goes and signs with an Under Armour or something like that, Benny.
I mean, listen, it's going to come down to the money, and they're all going to be throwing money at you. So for me, you want to go with the place where they have a track record of taking someone's signature shoe and turning it into an entire brand on its own. I mean, remember, it wasn't just the shoes with LeBron James either. There are sweatsuits out there. Yep. There are the I Am Witness T-shirts that everybody had walking around, you know, the commercials, all that stuff. So they handle all of that for you. You know, a lot of these other companies are trying to use your name to further their brand. Nike is doing that, but Nike is also at the same time furthering your personal brand. You know, like being a part of Nike makes you bigger than you were before you came there. You're also making them a crap load of money selling your shoes, but they're also making you an even bigger star than you were. So I think that it doesn't make sense to me not to go with Nike if I'm him.
That's the thing. It really doesn't. Like even with Kevin Durant was in the Adidas building, and they was like, signature shoe for you. You know what I'm saying? Merchandise over $1 million. Let's sign the paper.
Okay.
You gotta stop wearing Nike. And he was like, whoa, what? Yeah, you can't wear Nike no more. And he's like, what do you mean I can't wear Nike no more? He turned the deal down and took the Nike merchandise deal. That's how powerful a brand that Nike is, to the point where, like, you can come in there with these outrageous numbers and everybody's like gonna be like, I'm going to take less money and go with Nike.
Yeah. But again, the Nike brand, being a part of the Nike brand also helps you in other situations, because other companies are going to want to partner with you as well because you're that Nike guy and you're that guy that's out there. I mean, it's helped. Again, Jordan, as much money as he made with the Jordans and the Nikes, it also launched him into the Gatorades and all the other commercials that he had along the way. You know, same thing with LeBron doing the Sprite commercials and all those other things along the way. And that's the thing, is like, even if you take less money to go with Nike, I think you end up in a better spot at the end, because of the exposure that you get from being a part of the Nike family is going to lead to other things down the road, other endorsement deals, because everybody knows your name and knows your face because of how much Nike promotes you and pushes you out there throughout the country.
They're going to get you in there up in Portland, Oregon. They're going to sit him down and they're going to say, listen, I know what kind of money they're offering, but can they put the Zion Williamson shoe commercial at the first commercial break of game 1 of the finals?
Yeah. Can they put it during NCAA tournament?
Yep.
Can they play it all during the summer? Are they going to have your picture on stuff at the summer league that's going to be in the background? Are you going to be the official sponsor of the shoe?
Are you going to have a billboard? Or are you going to have a billboard in Times Square like Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah. Are you gonna have every single high school kid wearing your shoes at the Nike camp this summer? Like, you know, the things that Nike can do, these other companies don't have the infrastructure to offer you. And it's just, like I said, it's going to make you not only help Nike make money, Nike helps make you a bigger star. So there's more to it than just the financials. And on top of it, Nike's going to offer you as much money, if not more, than these other companies are anyway. So for me, I would sign with Nike in a second. If Nike wants to make a signature shoe for the opening line, we signing on the dotted line, Corey. We're not shopping around. We're not.
I'm not even taking Under Armour's phone call, Benny.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
I'm not even taking Under Armour's phone call. Nike has that spot locked up. They're such a culturally significant brand. Mm-hmm. Even the most culturally significant athlete, Allen Iverson, his signature shoe could not pop because it wasn't Nike. And there it goes right there. It's Nike, the brand. I don't want to say it's a monopoly, but when it comes to ball players, the brand is too strong. They're going to turn down money because they want to be on Nike, and that's what it is. Zion's not going to turn on a lot, though, but I'm quite sure Adidas, Under Armour are going to offer him the world, but it's not going to happen. So he'll be one of the few people to come into the league with a signature shoe on Nike, and that's a good look right there. Couple closing things right quick. This Russell Wilson thing. Russell Wilson told Seattle, you got to April 15th to get this deal done. They were already negotiating in good faith. Why make this public? I think he could be trying to say, somebody come get me. I do think Russell Wilson, I think he wants to end up in New York or D.C.
I mean, I don't blame him for wanting to get out of the Seattle area. So that's, that's not all that crazy.
Geographically, Seattle's bad.
Well, I mean, not even just geographically, right? Like a lot of these guys, when they get towards the end of their career, they start thinking about what's next, right? Like what's next? When you're up in Seattle, if you're not working for Starbucks, like what's your next, you know what I'm saying? Like what are your opportunities in Seattle? There really aren't any. If you're in LA, if you're in New York, you have opportunities on the radio, you have opportunities on TV, you have opportunities to do a whole lot of other things that you don't get the opportunity to do in Seattle. And now that he's towards the end of his career right now, listen, Seattle loved Russell Wilson because he was cheap and he allowed them to build a really good team around them, right?
Yep.
So now it's time for him to get paid, and they're reluctant to do it because the business model that they want to go with is the one that, and again, I'm not knocking Seattle for it because this business model has been proven to work where you have a young, rookie-ish type quarterback. You have a team in the New York Giants that has a high draft pick again this year. They're looking for their quarterback of the future because Eli is beyond on his last leg, but they gave him another leg to stand on for some reason.
They gave him a third leg. Paul.
Yeah, exactly. He really needs one. And this is one of those situations where it makes sense for him to want to go to a team like that, where he could go, he could play in a big market, he could build his own personal brand again.
Celebrity wife.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure she doesn't want to be in Seattle. I mean, I'm sure she's not doing shows all the time up in Seattle. Like, she'd probably want to be in a New York or in an LA or somewhere where there are more business opportunities for her as well. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense for me why he wants to go do this. And honestly, if you're a Seattle fan, Russell Wilson, I would call him Russell Westbrook.
It's tough.
Russell Wilson has given you more than you could have asked for.
Exactly.
So this is a guy that even if he leaves, when he comes back to visit, you guys should be cheering him on, not, booing him and being mad at him for jumping ship.
Burning jerseys. It's just the financials of it. You know what I'm saying? And even for the Seahawks, it's kind of like, so he's saying to the Seahawks, listen, rebuild, or if you go with me, right, it's going to cost you a ton of money, and the pieces that we ain't going to win a lot. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be the Packers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then we going to be 9-7, and we're going to get bounced by the Cowboys in the first round or something like that.
Yep.
Whereas if, build it over, whatever, I'll go get my money someplace else where I can compete and contend to be where I want to be. If not, what's going to end up happening is they don't sign April 15th, Benny. He's not going to talk contract with them. But next year, he's going to be like, all right, let's do it. Trade me or whatever. Put me on a franchise tag. A franchise tag for a quarterback is $40 million, will be $40 million next year. He would gladly play on a $40 million franchise tag.
I would play on a $40 million.
The financials for the Seahawks is almost like, if they're smart, they got to move him.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be spending $40 million of your cap on your quarterback. As good as he is, it just doesn't make sense to do. So if he's not going to sign a long-term deal, and that's going to be what you're wind up being stuck with, is paying him $40 million on a year-to-year basis until he finally is able to just walk away without you doing that. You know what? You're better off trading him now, you can get a first and a third for Russell Wilson. You can. The Giants will do it. Yeah. So if you're going to get a first and a third for him, take that first and third, or take that first and a couple pieces that you need to fill into some other holes that you have. Start your rebuild now, and then in a couple of years you'll be good again. I mean, to me, that makes a lot of sense for both parties involved. So hopefully they work it out. I always liked Russell Wilson. I always thought he plays hard. He's a good player. He does the right things. He represents his team and his all that stuff well. So, I mean, he's a guy that you would want to be your starting quarterback or the face of your franchise. So I definitely think there's a market out there for him. There's always teams looking for a good quarterback. And if you can get him at a decent price, I think it just kind of makes sense for everybody involved to kind of move on at this point.
Yeah, I think that might be the case also. But you let that happen, then you look back and Richard Sherman goes, "See, I told you." You know what I'm saying? And then Earl Thomas goes, "See, I told you." You know what I mean? That's basically they were saying Wilson is tying the cap up, and now the Seahawks are saying Wilson was tying the cap up. You know what I mean?
Well, again, I mean, this is the point, right? Like, I mean, I'm going to go back to it again because we talk about it all the time. If you're building a franchise in the NFL,
you gotta do it.
Today's NFL, you need to be building around a young, cheap quarterback so that you can pay the Richard Shermans and the Earl Thomases and the other studs on your team to put around that young quarterback so you can win. Teams that are paying $30 million for quarterbacks that are not the New England Patriots are not winning because they don't have enough of those other players around them to get to the promised land.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do down in Big D. The Dallas Cowboys, my Dallas Cowboys, the best contract in the NFL has been Dak Prescott contract. Dak Prescott wants $200 million. Dak Prescott is not a $200 million quarterback. So hopefully, one thing about Jerry, though, Jerry does pay his quarterbacks, but my thing is, do we have to extend Dak now? You know what I'm saying? Can we wait a year to extend Dak?
If you give Dak $200 million, I'm going to tell you exactly how the team's going to fall apart, Corey. And you know this, and I know you're a Cowboys fan. You're not going to want to hear this. But if you pay him $200 million, you're not going to be able to afford the offensive lineman that you have. And then you're going to start letting, it's okay, we can do well without this one guy. And then next year it'll be another guy. And then a year after that it'll be another guy. And then you go from having one of the greatest offensive lines in recent NFL history
to having Eric Flowers.
Yeah, to having four journeymen around the one guy you decided to pay on that offensive line. And they're going to be guys that haven't played together. They're not going to block as well. Zeke's not going to be picking up the yards that he was. And everybody's going to be pissed off, all because you decided to pay $200 million to Dak Prescott, who I like as a quarterback, but Dak Prescott is a guy that you can find a rookie quarterback sometime in the next 2 years that can approximate what he can do.
If I'm Ezekiel Elliott, I hold out this summer. Because if I'm Ezekiel Elliott, I hold out this summer. Because I know next summer you're gonna be talking about we got to get Dak done, and we'll franchise tag you. If I'm Zeke, I lay the foundation now. Let's go. The Dallas Cowboys have a history of not paying position players. The only people that Jerry pays is the wide receiver. It's gonna be interesting to see how they figure that out in Big D. Speaking of getting paid, the Alliance of American Football. Benny, I figured you'd be able to make it through one season, son. They couldn't get through one season.
I mean, when you put a business plan together for any business, you do a 3-year business plan, right, about how you're going to have the money. And you make sure you at least have the money to get 3 years, because that's what it's going to take for any new business to kind of take hold. They did some nice things here with the Alliance of, Football League, but if you can't even afford 1 year, like you're closing the season down before it ends because you can't even afford to finish the season, then you never should have started this in the first place.
No, I agree with you 100% on that one right there. So there you go right there. What I think is, I feel bad, you know what I'm saying? These cats, they're not expecting. They made $7,000 a week. They're not expecting to get paid this week. They got to buy their own tickets home. The problem is this. They thought that once you get a TV deal, the money would come. But the thing about it was, spring football does not work. It just doesn't.
Mm-hmm. The reason why we all love NFL football is it's once a week. For about 4 months, and every weekend you're getting whatever your team is. You and I both know, what do we do every Sunday? Most likely we got some kind of show or some kind of article in the morning. And then once the games start, though, we're on our couches watching football for the next 8 hours because we're going to be talking about it for the next 6 days until we get to do it again. There are some people that were big into this new Alliance football thing, but not to the same level that the NFL was. It's not on ESPN 24/7. It's not on Sirius 24/7. It's not being talked about and written about by fantasy columnists and sports columnists in every newspaper 24/7. That's why the NFL is successful, is because when NFL season is going on, nobody gives a crap about the last month of baseball. Nobody cares about the first month of basketball. Everyone's talking football until football's over. The problem is that's that time of year. This time of year, everyone's starting to talk about baseball. Everyone's talking about the NBA playoffs. Nobody really cares about the
tournament. You're going up against things. You're going up against things with football players that are not professional, and it makes it extremely tough. It's for fantasy and gambling, and they never really embrace fantasy and gambling. So let's see what the XFL learns from that. Benny, I think we've already given out a big piece of chicken out already to my main man, Russell Westbrook, right?
Yeah, there's no way a guy going 20-20-20 doesn't get the big. He gets the whole damn chicken today.
Yes, matter of fact, we're not giving out no more chickens this week. We don't have no more chickens. All the chickens are gone. Listen, don't forget EliteFantasy.com for all your DFS needs. FantasyGuru.com for you season-long heads. And if you like to lay it down, GuruElite.com. What's up, Benny?
No, I was going to say, this is like the John Madden. He gets a John Madden chicken with the 6 legs. That's
Yeah, no doubt, the turducken. Make sure you subscribe to the Guru Elite YouTube channel. For my man, Benny Ricciardi, I'm the fantasy executive, Corey Parson. The opening line, we are out.